everyone, and welcome back to the Plutonium Show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get straight into it. We've got maybe 2 to 3 topics today. We've got Harry's court case to go ahead to trial. Yet another one, I believe. I've honestly lost track because he's got 5. He's got 5. One of them being against the government, to be fair. But the other are all just against tabloids for invasion of privacy.
Jeez.
So we'll get to that. And then this person from Diana's past has come out. I don't know anything about him, saying that Prince Harry is the one holding back Meghan from success. Wait. This is just us telling them the agenda. Save your thoughts.
Oh my gosh. I'm still processing that. What?
That's how I felt when I picked it up yesterday. And finally, how the mighty have fallen from being royals and quitting because they don't want to do the work, which included ribbon cutting from time to time, to showing up for ribbon cutting ceremonies when they're not even the ones cutting the ribbons.
Yes.
All right. So Prince Harry's case, I believe this one is against Associated Newspapers, which own the Daily Mail, the ones that Meghan sued for her invasion of privacy case, is going ahead to trial. And he has another case against Mirror News Group with Elton John. This one, I believe, is where he testified in June with, I don't know, ask my lawyers, I don't know, completely unprepared.
Yep.
Or even worse, that's how it felt. That's how it felt at the time. It's like just everything based upon feelings and not facts.
Which sounds like a child again.
Exactly. And then he has another one against NGN, so N for November, with Hugh Grant, another phone hacking scandal. And then finally, like I said, the Home Office for police protection. What I want to say just very briefly is the case may have merit. Maybe Harry was just a really bad witness. They may have collected his, personal information through illegal means. Okay. So I'm not sitting here going, oh no, this case should have been thrown out. It's too early to say. We're going to find that out in trial. Because as I'm sure you know as well, just because something's been given the okay to go to trial doesn't mean that Harry is going to win.
Yeah, exactly.
It's there to get tested. But I do find it really unfortunate, and this is all I want to say, so I'll lend you the mic. You've got your own. I'll pass on the mic.
No, I want to borrow yours.
Yeah. Once I'm done, I just want to say, I just find it so unfortunate that Prince Harry is the figurehead for these cases, because he is not only the ultimate hypocrite with violating his own family's privacy for a living now, as a career. You all know I read Spare. They did it in a Netflix series as well. But he's someone who is actively trying to gag people, actively trying, along with his wife, to restrict Americans' freedom of speech and stop them from, he called it bonkers. They tried to gag school children, and he joined the Aspen Institute to look into censorship. They're trying to call it, just dealing with misinformation when we all know what it really is. Basically, anything negative about him, he wants to shut down. And I still believe that he's taking on these cases, these 4 cases against the tabloids, to censor them, not to protect his privacy. Because, and this is where I'm going to finish off, he said himself, never even occurred to him to do this until 2018, when he married Meghan, and they went to France, and they met his lawyer, representing him in this case, who also represented Johnny Depp in London, David Sherborne. I always is it like Melbourne or Sherborne? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it never even occurred to him. It never bothered him. And then suddenly he said on the stand, no, I never really intended to do this until David Sherborne and when Meghan and I went to Paris. What are your thoughts?
I could make, what are we up to? 86? Podcast 86 here?
I believe so.
I could make 86 episodes of a separate podcast on how privacy is a thing of the past, and you can no longer be private simply by existing on this earth and not putting your information out there, because everyone whether you are Prince Harry or whether you are just a normal person, everyone is trying to get everyone's information at all times. That's the world we live in, right? Where privacy is something that, people experienced out on farms before technology 50 years ago.
Well, I would say even 30 years ago, before the internet really took hold.
This is true.
Yeah.
So this is something that I think definitely needs a voice. But as we have seen time and time again, Meghan and Harry put themselves behind good causes to try and validate themselves, right? This isn't exactly what's happening here because Harry's only in it for himself.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. You mean in terms of Meghan?
In terms of...
Because Meghan's definitely driving this.
Yes, but Harry's only here because he wants to protect his privacy.
Yes.
So this isn't about anyone else, but what should be a good cause, which is, hey, media, stay out of everyone else's business. I mean, I'm one of those people who despise almost any form of paparazzi because whether I like a celebrity or not, I don't think that they should have every moment of their lives invaded, right? And I don't think that people should, unless someone's on some sort of watch list, people shouldn't have access to other people's text messages. And when I say people, I'm talking about government, I'm talking about police, I'm talking about army, I'm talking about paparazzi.
Yep.
We should have some sort of privacy. So this is something that Harry should have been entitled to. But he's not doing this for the right reasons.
Yep.
And so if anything, he's going to give, in a worst case scenario, he's going to give the media a leg to stand up on. Look what happened. Some guy came out and said that we were spying on him and he couldn't produce evidence, thus we're not spying on him. It's going to give them that whole oh, we're not that evil, even if they were doing it, even if it's true. Because like you said, this case could very well have merit. They could have very well done it. But now, because Harry's behind it, it's just set the cause back like everything Meghan gets behind. It sets whatever cause she's behind back months, years, even decades. Because people go, oh, she's attached to it. Must be a scam.
Yep. I completely agree. Let us know what you all think about this case going ahead, like the other cases. And he's going to rack up a big legal bill, that's for sure, whether he wins or not.
But won't Daddy pay for it anyway?
I don't know about that. Let us know in the comments. You think Charles will foot the bill? I doubt it. But I don't know how much of a daddy's boy he is behind the scenes. As I was browsing through, trying to get topics for the podcast, I came across this piece of, this headline. Diana's ex-close friend, Richard Kay, claims that Prince Harry is the one holding Meghan back from her stardom. So, from what I understand, basically all the royal drama has tarnished their reputation. And as a result of this royal drama, which apparently is Prince Harry is the only thing linking Meghan to that drama because she has nothing to do with it. Oh, I don't know. I guess we've been, sleeping under a rock. But that's what's in between her and ultimate stardom. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to say my piece and then... Because I'm happy.
It's totally up to you.
I feel like you really want to say it, so go ahead. Go.
Well, I'm still putting together my thoughts. But Meghan who? That's who we were dealing with before Harry. Meghan who? I hadn't seen Suits. I didn't even know what she looks like. Didn't know her name. Didn't know about the TIG. I mean, granted, I am a straight male, so I shouldn't know about any of this stuff.
About the TIG, yeah.
But I didn't know anything until she met Harry. And before she met Harry, and this is no offense to anyone who's in Suits, right? But on the grand scale of things, right, as far as celebrity scales, she was not getting A-list roles in A-list movies. She was... I struggle to think. I mean, she's never been in a cinema. Never.
Yes.
Unless someone did an all-night screening of Suits. Her face has never been on a cinema screen.
Well, let me just correct you. She's been as an extra. So in Horrible Bosses, for example, she was a FedEx delivery girl for all but 2 seconds. Yeah. Meghan, look, again, I'm not, and I'm sure you agree, but we're not trashing extras.
No.
I mean, who are we? We're sitting here on our own YouTube channel. We're not high and mighty, okay? But when it comes to her and how she likes to, portray that she gave up so much. She gave up this career.
Well, it's like this side of when you go and hear that, I think I'm paraphrasing or like trying to pull random memories out here, but I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon that used to do commercials way back, right? That's how they started in commercials, like free to air TV.
And Mark Wahlberg.
Right?
He was the Calvin Klein guy.
Yeah. Which,
I mean, that's pretty good though, but he was like an underwear model. Yeah.
And when I heard about that, I'm like, hey, that's really cool. Like, I didn't go, he did a commercial. It's not that there's anything wrong with doing commercials, being an extra, doing this or doing that. But if someone is an extra in a movie and then walks around like they were the star.
Exactly.
That sort of gravitas, like, oh, I was in this movie.
Exactly.
Were you now? Because I watched that movie and I didn't see you,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I haven't seen Horrible Bosses, but I can guarantee you, if I saw Horrible Bosses, I wouldn't remember the FedEx delivery woman.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen a single movie where she cameoed, if you can even call it that, because she was really just a peripheral side character.
Yep.
An extra with a few lines.
There's only one FedEx guy I remember. Stan Lee, the end of Captain America Civil War. That's it. That's it. That's all I remember. But you cannot say that Harry ripped her away from a life of being an extra to be in the royal like it just does it. The square hole does not fit the circle piece. It's impossible. The only person who's been degrading the other is Meghan degrading Harry by forcing him, or at least manipulating him to turn against his family and attack everything they've done by not wanting to work in the royal family as well, which obviously we'll get back to, and by trying to one up the royal family. Because if you think about it, we've discussed this before, any single woman who had married Harry and was in the royal family, right? If she's sane if she's of sane mind, she would be totally there. She'd be like, this is great.
Absolutely.
I've made it, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm just going to be the best wife I can be. I'm going to be super supportive, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you have to be insane to imagine. Let's play Meghan's game here. Imagine she was an A-list celebrity and was like on the cover of magazines.
Like Angelina Jolie.
Yes.
There's royalty. Royalty sits on top of celebrity.
So even if she was A-list,
so you do get higher.
Even if she, it's like, oh, he saved me from a life of being an A-lister, so now I'm in the royal family, and now I don't have to do any movies.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. I think you pretty much said what I wanted to say, honestly. It's just...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Absolutely fine. I get to ramble on my solo videos enough as it is. Basically, I just thought, I don't know if this man's trying to get headlines. I don't know anything about Richard Kay. Clearly, if he's Diana's friend, it was way before my time. I was like, is this person living on the same planet? It took me a while, like you yesterday when I was hit with the news, to process it. Because you're absolutely right. Not only, you've said everything there is to say about her being a nobody, but she not only is a nobody, she dragged him down to her level.
He ain't
of
living
nobody
in the royal palace anymore.
I mean, this actually segues brilliantly into our next topic, which we'll get to very soon. But he's become a jester, from a prince to a court jester. Not even a court, not even good enough to be in court in the palace.
I think they're court jesters that are probably more dignified than he is.
Well, they're doing their job, right?
Right.
Without moaning about it.
And how about that? Imagine that, doing your job. And like, I'm not saying that everyone has to do their job and be like, oh, I'm happy doing this. But a prince.
Yep.
If you had to, like, obviously, you could probably create an entire documentary on the job of a royal prince, right? Or a king, or what William does and Catherine. But it's one thing we can all agree on. It's not a job that you complain about.
Absolutely. They have ruined their own reputation. Or rather, Meghan's toxicity and Harry's enabling enabling it and also being an accomplice to it is what destroyed their reputation and has shut down doors, which honestly I don't even think ever existed for Meghan, because she doesn't have any talent, unfortunately. And so to say that Harry is, this is her own doing, like my last video on Jada Pinkett Smith. Let's stop blaming the man for the woman's shortcomings.
It blows my mind about the idea of blaming the man for rather than, because people fight for equality, right? But then if you're fighting for equality, then excusing blame from the woman because she's a woman and putting it on the man because she's a man, then suddenly you're not fighting for equality anymore.
Absolutely.
You don't want a patriarchy. You just want a matriarchy instead.
Yeah. As opposed to like an equal society.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a dangerous line to cross.
Yeah. And I think we'll leave it there for that one. So they quit the royal family. Now they say because they wanted a quiet family life out of the fishbowl, and then proceeded to become basically Kardashians, or poor copies, poor clones, poor imitations of Kardashians, because at least they work hard and they love their family and don't trash their own family. And the thing about the Kardashians, I'm not a fan, but they love each other. Enough said.
I use the name Kardashian in my day-to-day life. Like, nothing really against that. I don't know anything about them as people, but I use the brand Kardashian as an insult. So when I see someone trying to be a Kardashian, that's how I use that, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Meghan saw it the same way as you, because she snubbed them when she first came back to the States. She was like, you're beneath me.
Exactly. So when someone cannot even, especially this whole royal family versus Kardashian, I think we know which one you'd rather pick, right? When you leave the royal family to be a Kardashian, but you can't even be a Kardashian, like, how low do you have to sink? Again, I have nothing kind to say about that family, but
I'll just say, like I said, at least they don't make a living out of trashing each other.
Yeah.
They're a very strong knit family, and we can all respect that. So how low can they sink, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Low enough that they're attending random events, which, look, you all know, I've served in the army, so I'm not saying that events involving veterans are not important and significant, but they're not on the map events that Meghan would want to be seen at if it was up to her. For example, the Met Gala. She made Harry ditch a memorial to go to the Lion King premiere back in 2019 so he could freaking try to get her a job, which he did, from Bob Iger right there on the yellow carpet. We all know. So she's not beneath dragging him away from things that matter, things that should matter to him as a veteran himself. But now she's finding herself in a situation where that's all she can do. And I would say these events are too good for her. She's tarnishing them by attending. Not to say she's not putting the event on the map, of course. Now, this was an opening of a sports center for veterans. And there was it's the Navy SEAL Foundation's Warrior Fitness Program West Coast facility in San Diego. And they showed up to what royalty normally show up to do, right? Which is cut a ribbon.
Yep.
However, in this instance, they weren't even important enough to do that. They just stood there. She had her rictus grin plastered on her face. And by the way, Harry was behind her the entire time. And they don't even say a word. She's just standing there like an automaton, like she's not even human. Yeah, I've seen this video maybe 3-4 times in a loop because I just couldn't get over how Harry was just pushed to the back again. And I mean, who are you? Are you the veteran, Meghan? Is she the veteran? Am I missing something, people? Tell me in the comments. Zach, am I missing something?
You're not missing anything. The only trenches Meghan served in are the trenches of trying to get designer brands to give her free things.
And the dirty trenches of Hollywood.
And the dirty trenches of Hollywood, which, again, we know of people who have, made it in Hollywood. We see it all the time. So not to say that Hollywood's fair and all that sort of stuff, but she seems like she would have been perfect because she's willing to throw away and give up just about anything to be famous.
I'm sure she did, but she still wasn't good enough.
Yeah, because you kind of need a little bit of talent. You need something to ride on there.
Yep.
And even if she did have that talent, she didn't nurture it or decide to work on it because she thinks she's perfect. So here we are at this event instead.
Yep. Caring for our veterans. Really? Really? Did you care about the veterans back in 2019 when you went to the Lion King premiere?
I mean, did you care about your husband's grandfather and grandmother?
That's right. They're veterans.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know if many people know Queen Elizabeth served.
I didn't know that. I was just talking about the fact that, they're borderlining on elderly abuse with the things they did while they were still around.
No. Queen Elizabeth in her youth,
Yeah.
which was at the time of World War II, I believe was, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to research it now in the middle of the episode, a mechanic of some sort.
Wow.
She actually put on the uniform, and Prince Philip was in the Navy. He actually gave up his career to support his wife.
Wow, that's incredible. Imagine that. I mean, that's the thing about Queen Elizabeth, though. She looks like the sort of woman who never had a problem with getting down and dirty.
Absolutely.
She would do the hard yards.
Yep.
And she probably did more events for the royal family, more royal family work since Meghan's been on board than Meghan's done since she's passed and beforehand.
So you mean in the few years that Meghan was on board, the Queen did more?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
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 Like attending more. And you know what? She did that as an elderly person where it's hard to get around. Even if you're the Queen, your bones, you know how it is. You get old.
She died of bone cancer.
Exactly.
So
and she was still turning up.
Literally until within a couple of days.
And Meghan couldn't turn up because it wasn't on her own watch.
No, she couldn't turn up because she's lazy. I have a theory that's also why she didn't make it. But now this is what they're doing. This is what they've been relegated to. And then there's this other post on Archwell, uplifting our military families. Are you serious?
The family you just married into is a military family.
I mean, let's remove the word military.
Yeah.
Uplifting our families.
Get out of here. What uplifting families? Your father had a stroke and you couldn't care less.
She didn't have a single family member other than her mother at her wedding where strangers were invited. And then that's before she proceeded to trash her family, of course, and then Harry's family for a living. I just don't know. Are they that tone deaf or are they that deliberately not ignorant, not willful ignorance, but are they doing this on purpose?
I think she's so caught up in how she looks and how she sees the world. Kind of shows that, people say she's intelligent. Well, here's a food for thought. She's probably one of those people who she only thinks people think like her, right? So when she looks at something like only inviting her mother to her wedding, she thinks, oh, they're going to think this, that, and I can't even pretend to begin to imagine what sort of delusion she must have thought and why she did that, because anyone else would have been like, I want my family there.
I'll tell you why. She and people like her are so oblivious to the optics because they're so in their own heads and they have always been. It's a personality disorder that they literally don't have the ability to consider it from another perspective. So all she cared about and all she still cares about is, like you said, her image. But most importantly, to address your wedding question, she did that to network. She wanted to be seen, number one, as so important that all of these A-list celebrities, I mean, she missed the point that royalty is above celebrity. She completely missed that point. But she's rubbing shoulders with George and Amal Clooney and Oprah Winfrey and didn't once stop to think what it's going to look like from an outside perspective. Because everyone, even me, we were a couple of kids who didn't even care when they got married. We watched it, as I've said, because it was like, oh, hey, it's a good time for us. It was afternoon for us. But we didn't care. And it still stood out to us.
Yeah, it's odd. The only family Meghan has, which supports why her mother was there, she considers the only people in her family as people who enable her.
Absolutely.
So the day that Harry stops enabling her, it's a divorce. And the day that her mother stops enabling her, she doesn't speak to any of them. Her father wasn't willing to enable her, clearly. And her sister and her brother.
I mean, look, her father enabled her until the cows came home, I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
He's also fessed up that he's part of the reason why she's so spoiled.
Yeah.
Do you want anything else to say about this uplifting our family
I mean, there is just no uplifting. She's never uplifted a single person in her entire life. She drags everyone down. George and Amal Clooney will be thought of less because they affiliated with Meghan. Oprah will always be thought of less because she affiliated with Meghan. And that's the message that everyone needs to get if they can pop out of their celebrity bubbles for a moment. If you affiliate with Meghan and Harry, there are a lot of people that you just tarnished your reputation with. So I hope the news is spreading, and evidence of that is that she doesn't even get to cut the ribbon. Yep.
I mean, I just find it so disgusting that it makes sense. It's on Archwell. It's not like some other third party event was uplifting military families and invited Meghan and Harry. It's like I said in my video, How to Cancel the Uncancelable. Anytime you see them, it's because of a self-orchestrated, self-generated event. Whether it's a pap stroll in a parking lot, if you can even call that an event, or these kind of fake charitable, pseudo-charitable humanitarian events that they're only now doing, by the way, because they've realized that their dreams of stardom via Netflix and Spotify are probably not going to come to fruition, at least not anytime soon. And so now they're pivoting and they think we can't see through it.
Yeah, because again, she's seeing things through her eyes and can't imagine that other people have other brains that work differently.
Yep. I was on the subreddit. Shout out to the Saint Meghan Markle subreddit. Yes, I do lurk over there. I came across these photos that were shared of Meghan at this Caring for Our Veterans event. By the way, these photos were taken in the midst of a speech that she's basically interrupted by coming up to people. And Harry is lining up to make a speech next, and she's just there, like a lunatic, honestly. Look at this photo.
She's a crazy person. Someone get her off the field. She's literally on a field.
Basically, if this wasn't Meghan Markle and this was just a random person, they would get security and escort them out. This is literally in the middle of a speech.
Oh my gosh.
So
I have no words. That is another level of lunacy. I was just saying the pit, right? That's exactly it. She kept digging.
I'm not saying, and you're not saying, I'm sure, that she's mentally ill, but I mean, we can't say that. She doesn't behave.
Can't say that.
She doesn't behave correctly, but I think she's just so in her own head, right?
Yeah.
She's so in her own bubble, in her own planet of, just narcissism.
Yes.
That she can't see how the optics are wrong. Like how she shoves Harry behind her. We're not saying, oh, she's got some mental illness, but no, it's her narcissism. That's what makes her do these things.
She's a ridiculously delusional person, and all the people who have enabled her up until this point are ever so partially responsible for the monster in front of us now.
Well, that ribbon cutting ceremony, I knew I had to talk about it because to me, it's the epitome of how the mighty have fallen, including Prince Harry.
She has to interrupt speeches to get attention now.
Yeah, because she can't even cut the ribbon. If she were a royal, if she did her job and does what Catherine does, she would have cut the ribbon. I wonder if she knows that.
I wonder how many people were in the speech going, gosh, can you please be quiet? I'm trying to listen to the speech.
I don't even know. I wonder how many people are like, why are they even there? Because like I said, they just stood there. I mean, we know why they were there, for the photo op. So they can make this post on Archwell and pretend to be humanitarians.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they weren't invited and they just rocked up to the place,
I doubt it. They probably just maybe even made a donation. They buy their way into things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about all we have time for today. Any final thoughts, or you've said it all?
My brain is scrambled from just how delusional she is. Honestly, it's going to take me a good thing we do this, bi-weekly. It's going to take me 2 weeks just to get over it. Jeez.
Yeah. Whew. Well, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments section. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.